It is all about Circle of Sisters. We are empowering women all weekend long. I'm LaDawn Black. Thank you so much for joining me. This panel is going to be hot because it is Sisters in Sports. I have pulled together women that are coaches, women that are active in sports, women who coach and inspire new generations of women to be interested in sports. So let's get it started. It's all about sisters in sports here on Circle of Sisters. So my panel is up, and what I want is everyone to kind of go around and introduce themselves. We can start with Collette. Collette, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, LaDawn. My goodness. WBLS. Yes, let's go. So my name is Collette V. Smith. The V is for victory. My mama would tell you the V is for Veronica, but it's Collette V. Smith. I am the NFL's first African-American woman to coach in the history of the National Football League. I am the founder and president of Believe in You Incorporated, that seeks to empower my Black youth, especially my Black girls. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys.
Felicia, you can go ahead and jump in.
Hi, good afternoon, Circle of Sisters. I am Felicia Hall Allen. I am president and CEO of Felicia Hall Allen Associates. I like to tell myself that my purpose in life is to help other people's dreams come true. I gain a tremendous amount of just fulfillment and elevating others. And I would like to say that part of what my platform is to help others to see the possibilities that exist within and around them to have everything that they want. I am fortunate enough to have the NFL as a client. I've worked with the NBA, the NCAA, the United States Olympic Committee, and I also had the pleasure of working with Coach Diane Richardson's Towson women's basketball team this year, along with a number of other athletic programs during some team building, because everybody wants to be a winner. And we all were born with the desire to win. So thank you for having me today.
Diane, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. I am Diane Richardson. I am the head women's basketball coach at Towson University in Towson, Maryland. I came this way because I, started in sports. I first got my break in sports by being a college scholarship recipient to play basketball. And that was my inroad to education. And from that, I was able to, get my master's and go into finance, and was a former CEO for 25 years in the finance industry, and then ended up as vice president of marketing at Bank of America. And my way into sports was because I knew that my coaches were mentors for me, and actually changed the trajectory of my life and gave me new insights as to what I could be, what I could do. And I wanted to do that for young ladies now. And so I stepped away from corporate America, but I decided to step away from corporate America and decided to be a mentor, a teacher, a trainer, and a coach for young ladies, so that I can show them the journey that I went on and how it fulfilled my life, and that they too could use basketball for them to enhance their lives as well.
So my first question would be this. A lot of you have already spoken about the importance of sports in your life and how it motivated you and got you where you want to be in life. Let's talk about how you actually frame sports for young girls coming up. What does sports really bring to a girl's life?
I could tell you what sports brought for me at the age of 42. And I say that on purpose. I'm very intentional about what I talk about. I was that little Black girl that wasn't allowed to play football when I was a kid. And so even on a Pop Warner level, I was told, you're not allowed to play because you're a girl. And I always felt not good enough. And so I probably walked with a lot of that in my life as an adult. And at the age of 42, I had heard about a women's pro football team. And I said that, women's professional football team. And I was 42 years old at the time. And I said, I'm going to try out for this team. I won't make the team, but I owe it to myself to be around women that are playing the sport that I loved my entire life. And when I got up there and I saw 45 to 50 women playing football, all of a sudden I became empowered. I was wearing a superhero cape and it was blowing in the wind. And I was standing there like this. It did everything for me. I became a better person at my company. I stood up for myself more. I started to take chances on me and just realize that, you're not a loser until you quit trying, but you got to start. So sports impacted my life so positively that it is my innate duty now to give that to other little girls. So sports just has a way of teaching you team spirit, team camaraderie. And if I did 10 push-ups yesterday, my goal is for more tonight and tomorrow. So it always has you reaching for more. So sports is such a great impact, a positive impact for our children,
Wonderful, Collette. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else on the panel want to talk about the impact of sports on young girls?
I'd like to say, growing up in the city and, in a really, really rough neighborhood, sports was an outlet for me. I loved playing with my older brother, playing basketball and running track and all those other things. But what I really wanted to accomplish was for my mother not to have to struggle and work hard and, jobs that most people didn't want. She didn't have an education. No one in my family had an education. And I knew that, to be able to help her, I needed to be educated. And my high school coach came to me and said, now they're offering scholarships for young ladies to go to school with Title IX. And I thought, wow, this is the only way I'm going to be able to go to college through my sports. And I was able to get a scholarship. I was able to go to school for free. And that really gave me an outlook, a different outlook on life. And I knew that with the college education and with my sports, I could get even more out of sports and continue to do that and was able to get a college education and see the different things that life would be open to me. And I wanted to go back, and this is the reason why I went back to coaching. I coached in the high school level because there were so many young girls like me from, disadvantaged neighborhoods where there was no way they were going to be able to go to college financially. And I knew that sports could be an outlet. And we went about the business of teaching them basketball and getting better at basketball so that they could get, college educations to, further their lives. And we were successful with that in high school. And every single one of my high school players received a college scholarship. And so we went about doing that to show them that sports could really be an open door or the key to unlocking your future.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on that? Or Felicia?
I think that I have a final thought on that. Thank you. I was just considering a quote by Zig Ziglar that said that if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. And if you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. And I think that's what sports taught me, that no one can stop me. I think that it gave me a sense of a competitive spirit, which I think is absolutely necessary in life. But I also think it taught me how to be a part of a team. And I think that to be successful professionally, you have to have a sense of confidence and you have to have self-worth. I think it helps to increase your confidence in who you are. But then when you learn how to play well with others and you are not afraid to compete, then anything is possible. And that's what sports taught me. Anything is possible.
I love your comments, Felicia, and I know the other ladies love them as well, because really where it sort of took me is how you can sort of translate playing in sports as a young girl, as a college athlete, into your potential careers? Because I know a lot of you have had careers outside of sports. So can you talk to me a little bit about how athleticism played in, being a bike executive, having a traditional job, or pursuing a business?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd like to say, like Felicia said, it gives you all of those extras that you don't even think about while you're competing. It gives you the discipline. It gives you the goal setting and the goal getting. It gives you the resilience and all those things that give you confidence in yourself and those around you. And I'll tell you, as a CEO, I knew from the background that I had in sports and all the things that help you, we actually recruited athletes as on our sales teams, on our management teams, because of all of the extras that you learn as an athlete, with the discipline, with the camaraderie, with being a team. And I think, the success of our company was based on the fact that we set our company up much like teams, with people that had athletic backgrounds to be able to strive and push for goals and all of those. So I think our success was based on the people that we hired, and those people had sports backgrounds.
Right on. I agree with that, because it's all about you stepping into your fear. Competition is scary. Let's be very clear about that. My very first time when we had to tackle each other, right? Because at first it was just football drills when I was playing pro football. And it was, there was no hard hitting. And the first day when the coaches say you're going live, that means we're hitting, we're tackling. And I was scared to death. And then once you step into your fear and you experience it, you either want it more or you don't. So you get to learn exactly who you are. And for any player that was better than I was, and many of them were, because I came in as an older woman. I'm 42 years old playing football with 20-year-olds. But for me, it was about matching my hustle. Match my hustle. And I had to match theirs. So in other words, step your game up. Step your game up. And it's also for corporate America, for me, it was about knowing your personnel. So when I think about football as a player and as a former NFL coach, it is about knowing your personnel that can actually fulfill those assignments. So if I come up with a play scheme and number 33 can't handle it, but number 22 can, I know my personnel, right? So even with me today, having my own company called Believe in You Incorporated, anyone that works on my team, because that's the way I see things now, I need to know you're a team player. And I need to know if I put something hard on your plate, you're going to elevate yourself. You're going to step your game up. So step your game up, right? And understand that in the world of sports, we have a thing that we say, whether it's basketball, football, lacrosse, soccer, or hockey, L's and W's, right? Your L's are your losses and your W's are your wins. Well, guess what? L's aren't losses. L's are lessons to get better for tomorrow. I'm a big advocate of making tomorrow better today. Sports has done that for me. I'm getting goosebumps now and I'm sweating, but it's everything in business. So I would encourage every young girl to get involved with some form of sports or even just try it out. So it just can benefit your entire life, personal to business.
Now, what I'm most impressed with is the panel is filled with women who are highly successful in the area of sports. What do you say, or how do you feel about the stories that came out just a couple months ago, where a lot of our professional lady athletes were like, I'm tapping out for a minute because I need to take care of my mental? What do you guys think about our athletes saying, you know what, the dollars are great, the opportunities are great, but my mental health is even more important?
Wow. I could definitely speak on that. I'm a several time suicide survivor. Mm-hmm. And I never tapped out because nobody tapped in with me. No one understood me. It took me to understand me in order to learn how to function and function happily. Because at the end of the day, God wants not only for you to be successful, but for you to live your happy life, your best life. So I'm a big advocate for our women. In fact, to me, their vulnerability is strength, right? So through all of our pain and fear is power. So I applaud them, and I'm on board with them for that. In fact, I love to see that. Take your power back. Take time out for you. You have to. You can't be there for everybody else all the time. You can be in a better position for other people when you're correct for yourself. So know you. I love it. I appreciate them.
Anybody else on the panel have any thoughts?
Well, I'd like to say, again, Collette, I applaud them as well. Being in sports, it's very competitive. And I'll tell you, the mind is an awesome, awesome organ, but the mind can be overloaded and too many neurons are firing at one time, and it gets you down. And as athletes, we always try to overcome, shake it off, shake it off. How many times have you heard coaches say, shake it off? Well, sometimes the brain is telling you it is time to rest. It is time for you to slow down. Let's get our energy back to a level where we're not firing on all cylinders, where we just blow up. And you have to do that. You have to have those times when you are at rest, because you can overpower or overheat your brain. And that's what causes those bouts of depression, those things of imposter syndrome, those things that tell you it's got to stop. If you've got to slow down, and you can't be everything all the time for everybody. And so it's very helpful for us to be able to slow down a little bit, let our mind rest, let our body rest as well.
Diane, thank you so much.
Go
ahead, Felicia.
I think that Collette and Diane are like speaking my love language when they start to talk and express themselves from their personal perspectives. Naomi Osaka said, and I think one of the things that Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles did for us this past summer is that they reminded us that athletes are people too, and that they're human. And when Naomi Osaka graced Time magazine, and she said, the cover, she said, it's okay not to be okay. It's not acceptable for us to allow other people to shame us for wanting to take care of ourselves. I think that for so long, and we just happen to be Black women on this call today. Last night, I was watching an episode of Our Kind of People, and it talks about families in Martha's Vineyard. And the recurring theme was the myth of the strong Black woman. We've been told for so long that we have to be the backbone of the family. We've been told that we have to be better than, stronger than, more confident than so many other people, that I think that we got that part, and I think we mastered it based on the women that we've been exposed to. But the part that maybe we weren't exposed to as much, and maybe I think it left a hole in our hearts or our souls. Nobody really taught us how to be vulnerable. No one really taught us how to express our emotions when things were not okay. And no one ever really said that it was okay to not be okay and to not be strong in every moment. I think that it does not diminish our power or our authority to take control of our lives and ourselves. I absolutely believe that vulnerability is one of the greatest strengths of a strong Black woman.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much. Now, one of the things that I wanted to sort of circle back on, and I believe Collette mentioned it, and also Diane, talking about, not being scared to fail, but also not being scared to sort of look at midlife and go, I want to do something different. Can you talk to the ladies today about changing course? Do you have to be a certain age? Is it ever too late to change course? What do you ladies think?
I think for me, I have taken on a new perception of life because of sports, to be quite honest. Every day is a new story now, and I'm going to write it with my own happy ending, not somebody else's. I mean, for Pete's sake, did anybody ever think there'd be a first Black woman to coach in the NFL? Well, neither did I. But guess what? It happened, and I'm her. So anything is possible. So for me, I believe in taking risks every day now, and I had a conversation with one of my team members for my events I'm doing during Super Bowl week. And they were like, well, that doesn't normally happen, Collette, and that's not how it usually goes. And I just sat back and was like, continue to tell me how it doesn't usually go. Because if anybody knows, I'm not the usual suspect, okay? We're going to shake things up a bit. So I believe in standing up and making change. Be the change that you want to see. I don't care who's doing what. Not my problem. I've got big goals. And so walk into your life intentionally. I don't care how old you are. If you're 50 years old right now and you want to play some football, find a team in your state because there is one. At least train with them. Okay? So make every day a brand new day with a whole new story and a happy ending for you.
I love it, Collette. Anybody else have any comments? Some inspiration. Is it ever too late to pursue your dreams?
Never.
I would jump in and share this, that I think that in sports, one of the things that we learn to do well, and I don't care what sport it is, we learn how to pivot. We learn how to plant our foot, and we learn how to move in a different direction when it is appropriate to do so. And my undergraduate degree, my undergraduate degree is elementary education. So I've taught 4th and 5th grade. I pivoted. My dream was to become an attorney. I went to law school, and then I pivoted. I worked for Nike, assisting with sports marketing and growing and developing women's basketball. I pivoted. I ran a WNBA sports team where I had an opportunity to lead a team that competed for a WNBA championship. I pivoted. When the Hornets moved to New Orleans, I decided to start my own business. One, I never thought that the opportunities that came would have just fallen in my lap the way that they did when I was quite young. But the one thing that I understand is that age does not determine or dictate the projection of your career or your life. I think it's your passion that will do that. And if you're willing to pivot when the opportunities present themselves and not be afraid to do something different, I think that as long as you're living your dream, you're never working. And the goal for me is to never work, but to always love what I do. And I don't think that has an age limit on it. I think that you should always do what you love what you do, and the money will follow you. Be happy.
Be happy.
Felicia, I love it.
That is absolutely correct. At my age, getting into this career, and everybody thought you are absolutely out of your mind to step away from being a CEO, from running multi-million-dollar companies to being a coach. But it's what I love. And when I had that conversation with my husband to be able to pivot, as Felicia says, I said, honey, I really want to coach. And I think I'm passionate about coaching. How are you with that? And he said, if that's what you want to do, then I'm with you. And I'll support you. And it's great to have people in your life, especially when you're ready to pivot and do something that you really enjoy. And I really enjoy coming to work every day and mentoring these young ladies so that I can have a relationship with them for the rest of their lives. And it's fulfilling to me. And I have that saying, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And right now, I am very, very happy doing what I do, pushing papers and and making deals was a part of my past. But right now, that whistle feels real good in my mouth right now.
Yes, Coach. That's right, Coach. I know that's right.
We love it. Thank you so much, Diane. So let me ask the panel this question. Do you think your presence in sports really makes a difference as far as inspiring young women, especially for behind the scenes roles? Now, we all know about the Serenas and we know about Naomi, but let's talk a little bit about coaching. Let's talk about some of the marketing in sports. Let's talk about those background roles that are just as important and just as paid. Do you feel like it's important to promote those aspects of sports as well?
I would love to jump in on this one.
Yeah.
Because I think I started by saying that I kind of feel like a part of my passion in life is to elevate others. And one of the things that I have the fortune of doing is representing college coaches as a sports agent. And so I have coaches who work in conferences all across the nation in a number of different sports. And I've also been the sports agent of a national championship coach as well, Division I athletics. The other thing that I think is important in terms of elevating others, Diane is a part of an organization that I helped to found called the Women of Color Coaches Network. The goal, purpose, and mission is for Black women to come together in the same way that we do in our sororities or the links or the girlfriends, in formal organized groups where we create these circle of sisters, or we become circles of friends in service and in different professions. In sports, we haven't done it as well as they have kind of in civic and professional groups. So this Women of Color Coaches Network was put in place for us to be there for each other, to have each other's backs, to share information that would help each one of us to be successful. I think that in our circle with the Women of Colors Coaches Network, we realize that someone else's success can be our success. And Dawn Staley of South Carolina modeled that behavior very well. When Dawn shared a piece of her national maybe it was her SEC or championship sort of net, she sent a piece to every Black female head coach at the start of the season with a note. And Diane might be able to share more about what that note was. But I thought that it was powerful. Dawn shared a piece of her net as inspiration to them to say, I got mine, sister, you can get yours too. Woo! She did it because Carolyn Peck, who was the first Black woman to win a national championship, shared a piece of her net with Dawn. Wow. And so I think that that's how the circle evolves, where we elevate and celebrate each other without fear that I won't be able to get mine.
Right.
I love it.
I love it. It's a network. You know, the same way Circle of Sisters is a network to me, for me, with me, and others, my sisters, right? So if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with somebody, right? And we are all somebody, and we are all somebody on the same track. And I said that, the same track. And together we're stronger, right? So all of us just standing with each other, that room, what's the room called, Felicia? The coaches?
Women of Color.
It's the Women of Color Coaches Network.
Okay, well, I'm going to so be down with that. I definitely want to be involved with that, because that just makes us stronger, you know, and I'm happy to hear that. You know, there's never a day that goes by that I don't think about trying to empower somebody else, because I know what it felt like to be lost, right? I know what that feels like. And I'm emotional because I don't want anybody else to feel that to the extent that I did. So being there for somebody else is important. It's important for our culture. It is important for our race. It is important for our ancestors. Like, I can sit up here and tell you right now, the same way you ladies can say, I am my ancestors' wildest dreams, right? And to keep it going, I'm so happy to be on this panel. Jesus Christ.
I've got, and Felicia talked about that net and talked about the women of color network where we are always, and I use this phrase all the time from Felicia, elevating each other. And it makes you feel so good for us to be like on this panel. Like we want to be able to elevate each other and all those out there that are listening. And the net that Dawn sent, I have it with me every day.
Oh,
And it is a part of what I strive to do every single day. And what Dawn has done, she has continued to elevate the game, but she's also put us on a track to elevate ourselves as well. Carolyn Peck passed it down to her to put that in her mind that is something that you can do. And then Dawn sent it out to each one of us. And it is a reminder that we elevate each other. And these are attainable. These goals are attainable. And we know they are because we've done it. And people like us, African-American women, have done it. So it's not something that hasn't been done. Collette, you're an inspiration as well because it's been done. And so there are young ladies looking at you saying, I can do it too. And the more we can put us in those lights where we can shine our light for others to see, we'll keep continuing to fill those roles and we'll get more and more and more. And we're going to continue to elevate young ladies in sports for the rest of our lives.
For the rest of our
I feel
lives.
like I just have to say this, Diane, after listening to you and Collette. Collette said that people ask me about my opportunity with the NFL. She said that wasn't even something I had ever dreamed of because it was something that had never been done. And I remember wanting to run a professional sports team. But at the time that this was a dream that I wrote down, I wrote in parentheses, preferably women's basketball, when there was no women's professional basketball. It was only a dream. And I think that when we kind of push back and we start to consider what's possible, I'll say again, anything's possible, because just because a woman hasn't yet fulfilled that role doesn't mean that it's not possible. Collette, you taught us that. And Diane, and the things that you've been able to do. Diane does not toot her horn much, but Diane was recently voted one of the top 100 most influential women in business. She just happens to now be a basketball coach, but sports is a business. And Diane's influence is very motivating and inspiring to me because she operates with such humility. And what I would want people to know is that we don't have to step on each other or step over each other in order for each of us to have what we want. We can go through each other and with each other and walk beside each other, and we all can cross the finish line together. And even if we cross it at different times, we can be there cheering each other on at whatever time we cross that line. That, to me, the essence of there being a circle of friends or sisters.
Thank you, Felicia. Thank you so much for that. Well, I want to thank all you ladies for joining me. It is all about Circle of Sisters. This panel, Sports Sisters in Sports. The panel was being sponsored by Advancement of Blacks in Sports. So we have to make sure we mention them.
We'll have hell to pay by Gary Charles if we don't mention the Advancement of Blacks in Sports.
So we had to get it in. So any final words before we sign off?
I mean, the only way out is through. You know, I don't agonize anymore. I organize.
I like that.
And as a former broken crayon, I still color. How about that? Broken crayons can still color, right? So be everything that God created you to be. You are a winner, and the destiny in you is greater than the storm around you. Let's go. Game on.
Ooh, I like that.
Colette's fired up. She's fired up. I'm ready to play too, Collette.
Let's go. Let's go, Coach D. I got you too.
But that's what we have ahead of us. That's all within grasp. I tell you, there are no doors that are closed to us. We can kick them down. I have this saying, if it is to be, it's up to me. And so we don't wait around for anybody. We've got to do it. We've got to be doers. And if it is to be, it's up to me.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
I want to just piggyback on all of the energy and passion. Like, this panel has been fire.
Yes.
And I mean that I would hope that someone would be able to feel that energy and that it would resonate with them. Yolette McKeon, I don't even know how her last name is because it's hyphenated. What is it, Diane?
McEwen.
She's a head coach. She's the head coach at Ole Miss. And her tagline or hashtag for her program is no ceilings.
Ooh,
and
right.
I think that for young girls and women, and even those who think that time has passed them by, we don't have any ceilings on our life anymore. I mean, we got a Black woman who is the vice president of these United States of America. We have more Black women CEOs. We are winning championships. We are coaching in the NFL. And you know what? We're raising families and we're supporting and loving each other. And what I love about that is we can have it all. We can do it all. It might not be all at the same time, but I don't feel like we have any ceilings and there are no limitations on what's really possible. And so that's why I'm excited about organizations like the Advancement of Blacks in Sports, because I believe that we can all advance together. So I'd just like to say thank you for bringing us together and creating a small circle that will be able to expand, touch, and reach others that are welcome to join this sisterhood or circle of sisters. Thank you. I'm honored and privileged to spend time with you all this afternoon.
Well, once again, I want to say thank you to our panel. It's all about sisters in sports. It's Circle of Sisters. It was a powerful panel. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm LaDawn Black, and this is Circle of Sisters. More is coming your way.